Good. Go and start.
What? I said, are we ready to go, or are we waiting for Randy? So we're ready?
Welcome everybody, stand for the pledge of allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call, please.
Freeman.
Here.
Sims.
Present.
Graham. Here. Richter.
Here.
Stone.
Here.
Bozak.
I am here.
Welcome everybody, everybody's favorite time of the year. As I said, it's second reading of budget time. We'd like to start out by thanking all of the department heads and the representatives, the auditor's office, my colleagues, for the work put into preparing for this year's budget. We are going to be going through in order tonight, except for one exception. We'll get to that in just a minute, but what I'd like to begin and kind of share with the group that as we move forward, I think it's been said a few times prior to tonight that our job up here as a council is to be fiscally responsible for the taxpayers' money and the finances for the county. And there's been talk, a lot of discussion about presenting budgets without increases, and I appreciate the department heads have been able to do that, and I see some minor increases. So just to kind of set the tone as we begin tonight for the second reading and throughout this process, that additional personnel and additional raises for full-time employees are going to be put on hold as we go through this process. I just want to kind of let everybody know up front that that's kind of where we are and how we're proceeding beginning tonight. So I just kind of want to lay the groundwork and kind of put it out there that again we will be seeing how things materialize at the final reading. So with that being said, I think we can get right into it with Judge Cody, Superior Court number 6. We kind of just moved to the front of the line, and we had prior to that the judge.
What court were you on?
Judge Court 6. I see you have no.
Good to see you all again. Yes, I have no changes that I am aware of.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second. We have a motion and a second to approve Superior Court number 6 with no changes. All those in favor, any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you for your courtesy.
Okay, staying with general courts. Judge Beheimer, welcome, Judge. Look at Judge, we looked $445,000. No change. No change.
General courts. The first one, the 226 county
Yes,
court?
sir.
I mean, I show a change of $10,000.
The very first one, you did Judge Toby first.
Right, but I,
You still have it? Got it in the report?
am I not on the right page?
445, 747, bottom line.
Yeah, but that's an increase. of $9,725. Oh, there's an annual change, that's not the only
No. The plan was to submit your budget.
I think the difference is the fact that, they had requested $10,000 additional dollars, and what happened, they had a carryover of $225 in the previous year, so that's why you have a $9,475, but you've already approved the $10,000 additional dollars, and that's what you included in the 2025 budget, correct, Your Honor?
Yes.
Hey, can you clarify? Makes sense. I'd move to approve. I second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Beth. You know, I was on the wrong, Andy, I was on the wrong one.
Oh.
I was on the right one. That's okay. Now we have, public defender. Public defender, supplemental 1,200.
That was one that was previously submitted by the court. There was no submissions this year, so, the only submission we had for the PD supplemental fund was from the public defenders themselves.
Okay, we need a roll call motion on that, so.
Well, no, we wouldn't address it now
We're done?
because the courts did not request any money from that.
Okay, good, thank you. So now we move to the counter user fee jury fund, 2506.
Hey, all the answers in front of the room, please.
2506.
Try to hide out. I have no idea where this is. I'm sorry, what? It says on the county court, first half. Second page. Oh, the second page, okay.
When did we get more than peace? 45,000?
There's no change, I'll move to approve.
We have a motion.
Second.
And a second, no change. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We have general court interpreter grant fund.
It's 25,000, no change, I make a motion.
We have a motion.
Second.
Motion and a second, no change. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Superior Court 1, general fund.
There's no change, I move to approve. Second.
We have a motion and a second, no change. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. The guardianship grant. Looks like no change for the guardianship grant, 60,000.
How many more years do we have on that?
Pardon?
Do you know how many years that grant has?
Well, we have a situation this year with that grant, the fact that I think we just received a bill for $24,000, and we only had $14,000 left in the account. So we'll be meeting with Judge Kramer to that.
So is it unmet, or is it just changing amounts?
Yeah, it's changed amounts, and we need to rectify our amounts versus their amounts.
So there may be no changes on this, but it's a rec. Move to approve. I second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Superior Court 2. Looks like no change.
Make a motion.
We have a motion. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Judge.
Coming up, have a good night for real.
Superior Court 3.
Showing no changes, I make the motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
I'll abstain.
Motion, I'm sorry, Jeremy?
I'm gonna abstain from voting, leave it in front of the judge on Thursday. That's what.
Okay.
Hopefully,
I believe the motion carries. Thank you, Judge.
All right, thank you.
The Superior Court 4.
Give you reductions. Make a motion. Notice 200. Make a motion to approve.
We have a motion
A second.
and a second. Any discussion?
Yeah, I'd like to say something here. I'm gonna read something real quick. That, needs to go on record, domestic violence is a national crisis. The National Domestic Violence Hotline reports that over 1 in 3 American women and 1 in 4 American men have experienced rape, physical violence, or stalking by a partner in their lifetime. Every minute, an average of 24 Americans experience domestic violence. Domestic violence is especially prevalent in Indiana. The Indiana Primary Health Care Association reports that 42.5% of Indiana women and 27.9% of Indiana men have experienced domestic violence. Indiana ranks 5th in domestic violence, only 2.8% below the #1 spot. Porter County Sheriff's website has a page dedicated to domestic violence, and on the bottom it says, "Remember, you're not alone." So, just want to keep the note.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Thank you, Judge. Motion carries.
Really? Supposed to intimidate me, Judge?
Superior Court, since we did just Tony,
Same bottom line, goes up 500, down 500. Motion to approve?
Fourth District Court General Fund.
Andy.
We have a motion and a second on no change, 255.
Well, it's a change, it's just a change, it's an up and a down.
Yeah. Wash.
So then the bottom line is the same.
We have a motion and a second, any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay. Court Incentive Fund. What's the big one here? You have an increase.
$3,000.
Let's see, what?
Yeah, what's for training and education?
Yeah, this fund is for the 4D course specifically, and it's to be used only for 4D furniture, anything 4D related. So I go on educational seminars to get my hours for the interview, and I'm going to one that is specifically 4D. And so I would be able to utilize the funds from that incentive fund instead of taking it out of the general fund budget. So I'm asking for an appropriation right now to cover next year.
I put the motion to approve.
We have a motion second to approve.
Now, if we didn't approve that additional money, where do you reciprocate it from? You're gonna ask us for it from our general fund? Or do we
No.
have another fund you want it from?
I'd make a phone call and send a letter and ask for an appropriation for the money to cover the expenses out of that specific fund.
Just this. We have any further discussion, any other questions? We have a motion and a second to approve. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, circuit court.
President, can I ask a question? I might have missed that in the minutes. Did you say any raise increases were removed? Anyone that got requested special increases is removed, or is it in?
It's in.
Okay.
It's in?
It's in there, yes.
So you left it special raises?
What's that?
Is that what Andy said?
They're included in the budget at this time, but I think what I clarified to the group is as far as entertaining raises for full-time employees or additional employees, we're not going to entertain that.
So department heads that have asked for raises, it's included in this budget?
They are included. So there will be an adjustment when it comes to those specific categories. Okay? So we have here is...
How are you?
Good judge.
Congratulations.
Yes, congratulations.
Thank you.
Very big deal. It's awesome.
See what I'm saying?
I already said congratulations. So psychiatric services, you're going up 4,000, I think last year you guys ran you guys up there last year, so it should probably be the same amount as we did last year.
We will need an increase about 4,000, so there was a change in regards to us having competency evaluations on youth who come to the juvenile court. And so it is incumbent on the juvenile court in order to pay for those funds in order to have those services.
So you've increased it?
Increasing it by 4,000 because this line item also pays for the adult competency and mental health evaluations as well. Something else that we were also adding is a 144 change to include the bailiff or the juvenile court for up to 25 an hour, but we are not asking for an increase in the hourly. And then also asking for an increase in uniforms and clothing for $300, which will help us pay for the circuit court staff shirts and things like that. We have not been able to function. So total general fund increase would be $4,300.
20. Okay. Uniform and clothing.
To read the motion.
Motion is released.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Any further discussion?
Just that for the record, I think we've always done it, say bottom line, just for the record.
All of the amount?
Yeah, just they have to go back.
I make my motion for, 369,175, is that right?
Now, 618,963.
Make the motion to approve that $618,933.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Any other discussion?
Yes, I'd just like to make mention, myself, Sylvia Graham, and Greg Sims were invited to attend a meeting between the JDC and the Health Department. And Interest Department working together, which is really fantastic. They managed to save this council $73,000 by appropriating some of their funds from SB4 to the JDC. And both departments should be congratulated for their hard effort.
Thank you.
Thank you, Health Department. Cooperation.
Thank you.
Something in your facility. Yeah, people can facilitate that, so thank you for that.
Any other discussion, comments? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. We have next year, we have the circuit court that right? Remember who we had?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Circuit Court ADR. And this is like a, no, circuit court.
This was an increase of $8,885.
There's an increase there.
On the ADR?
Yes. That is, went from 17,912 to 26.
You're asking for an increase of 3,529. We would be doing, increase for two of our mediators of $1,500 each, in which our FICA would have to increase by $229, and our PERF would have to increase to about $300. So total ADR fund increase request would be $3,529.
Our sheet's showing $8,885, line 110 went up 3450.
What we had initially was the salaries went up by $3,450, which was a total of $18,450. Then FICA went up by $195, were the numbers of the original that you gave us. And then you had the PERF go up by $250, and legal services went up by $5,000.
We have 5,000 legal services that were already approved this year.
But it wasn't included in the budget last year per se, that's why that $5,000 in there. When you submitted your budget, you didn't include it in the 2024 budget.
Okay, but it was
That's why-
approved in 2024.
It was approved in 2024, but you did not submit it, and that's why there's that $5,000 difference there.
But I have my original right here. I didn't. I have my original that I turned in, and it says 5,000 right there.
Okay, Brian? Where's the total?
So that's something we already approved this year, so we're just adding
It was
that.
already approved, Jeff.
Okay. And you said you're doing an increase for your mediators?
$1,500 each, yeah.
Yeah.
Three.
So without the 5,000, it would just be an increase of 38.95.
Make a motion to approve the 26,807.
I'm sorry, what, which?
So $26,807.
Okay, motion approved, yes.
Yes, sir.
We have a motion,
I'll second.
and we have a second. Any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carries. Now we have Circuit Court DCS Grant 8141.
There are no changes in this, however, we're going to be zeroing out the hourly and FICA and switching that over to the training and education instead, but it's the same amount.
We have moved there. It looks like
Motion to
they're
approve $10,765.
Okay, we have a motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carries. And Circuit Court, Family Court, donation fund.
This is out of grants that we receive each year. There is a reduction that we're asking for, $7,837. However, we would like to add on to the 144 a case manager of a salary up to $30 an hour if we can on the 144, but it's not changing the bottom line. It's actually just reducing it. This is a grant, so it just depends on how much we receive every single year, and if we're able to use it, we can do that.
So it is hourly.
It is an hourly. But there's no hourly increases, it's actually reduced because we didn't receive as much this year.
And the pay is staying the same, 25, that's naturally.
What was that?
The bailiff pay, $25 an
Yeah.
hour, that's staying the same.
Yes.
Any other discussion?
I'll make a motion.
We have a motion.
I'll second.
I was just gonna say $23,511.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
Did that include
Sorry.
144 change?
I would say it would include the 144 change.
She wanted up to 30.
Up position.
Oh, you're changing it up to 30? From
We have a
29?
bailiff for up to 25, and we want to include a case manager up to 30. I think it's going to be.
Oh, okay.
Tim? Are you going to roll call?
I'm just seeing if we have more discussion. I think we have a
I
motion.
think he was going to amend his motion, right?
No, so with the 144, you're adding a case manager.
We've added the ability to be able to pay a case manager out of this if we need to.
But it'd be hourly, correct?
Correct.
And this is a grant fund.
This is the grant fund.
And do they have enough money in the grant to support adding another person for any length of time?
I don't think it matters if it can't.
But if it's hourly, you have you have that money depending on whether it's a bailiff or the case manager, they
Right.
use it and then.
Yeah, that's right. It gives us the
Yeah.
ability to be able to use different funds in regards to being able to pay these people out of these different funds
Yep.
instead of jumping into our general fund automatically.
Right.
They have $44,533.32.
Are we using computer issues tonight? Is that the monitors on? Or just not using?
We're using ours, yeah.
I'm not, that's what I was asking.
Apparently something.
Andy, they're having technical issues, we're having technical issues. They're gonna come out tomorrow and fix it.
Was this being recorded?
Yes.
So we have the hourly increase of salary.
There's no change in regards to that. It's just adding it to the 144. That's all.
So, we have a motion and a second, I believe.
I have a question. How long will this grant with that increase equal hourly? What I'm trying to work my head around is, like Sylvia had mentioned, how long will this money last from this?
Again, what we do is we have various people coming out of different grants and different funds, and so we're able to piece together enough to be able to pay a bailiff, be able to pay a case manager across the board. So we try to share as much as we can, like we would utilize probation administrative fees, or we might use JDC's hourly, or we might use the ADR fund, or we might use the child and family grant, ADR fund. So we try to do that as much as possible in order to piece together for these people. We have nobody in this position right now. But we have the ability to be able to do that because we work closely with the Department of Correction as well in order to provide case management services now through their grants. But sometimes those get less and sometimes those get more. So we just never know what's going to be available and what's not going to be available. So we're trying to do like preemptive, let's have this case manager and have this on the 144 if we need to be able to utilize this grant. We've been very successful in regards to getting money into this fund every year. We get about $10,000 every year from the Anderson Foundation that goes directly into this fund. And we've received that for probably the last 20 years. So we're able to at least get $10,000 generated into that fund each year. And we're very cognizant of what we do and don't use out of that.
They have this decent cash balance, so it's just amending the motion to add a case manager at $30 an hour, is that what?
Correct.
Yeah,
Can I amend the second? Thank you.
Any more discussion? Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in
there's
favor?
not to be a roll call at 144.
On the 144, you have to do a roll call, so there's separate.
I'm sorry.
You have two motions, one for the 144, and the second one is for the budget total.
Okay.
So we have a motion that includes.
We have a motion and a second for the
So we
budget.
have to do something.
I'll make a motion to approve the budget.
We have to have the
You got a
144.
second? There you go, Mr. President, you can take the...
Take a voice vote and do the roll on 144.
Does it matter the order?
The 144 has to be a roll call, and it has to be done.
We already have a motion and a second for the budget. We do that first.
That's fine.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. A motion to amend the 144 to add case manager at $30 an hour.
I second, Andy.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Tim?
Yes.
Graham?
Yes.
Brickner?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
Ashworth?
Yes.
Bozak?
Yes.
Reader?
Yes.
Seven.
Carries. Thank you. Good. Juvenile detention. Allison, this is what we have here, we have increases. And,
So we are going to be making some amendments to the shortly tonight.
To lower that big increase?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. The mandatory probation increases, well, you know, you hate that. However, it does equal $7,998. Other than that, we would be asking for an increase. And Karen, I don't know if you can help me out on this one. We received an increase of the $40,000. Is that going to carry over to next year
An increase in what?
in our hourly?
Not unless you're, what we have was, this year, you requested 40,000 for this year, right? It's
Correct.
the same. It should have been included in the number in the 2024 as a total.
It's included in our 2025, so I just didn't know if it would carry over.
No,
Okay.
you would have had to put it in.
Got it. Okay. So at this time, what we would be asking for, obviously, is the mandatory salary increases for these individuals, the director, assistant director, detention manager, and probation alternative supervisor. Again, that equals $7,998. In addition, we would like to increase our hourly line item by $75,000. I know that in front of you guys already in regards to this desire need of hourly for our detention officers, but including that, we also are in need of being able to hire an LPN. It is our hope that with our work with the health department that we are going to be able to fund an LPN through the Senate Bill 4 money. We will not know that until October 1st when we go in front of the Board of Health, and we are going to be asking for those funds at that time. Even if we do get that money, we still are in need of those hourly increases, because, again, like I talked to all of you before, when we did the salary increases for all the detention officers and the step increases, we also had to increase the hourly in regards to, the hourly rates in regards to our hourly workers. So that really hit our part-time budget really quickly. And we are just bleeding through that so fast. And so at this point, we do need the additional $75,000 in order to get through next year. We have not received an increase in our hourly since 2018. And then it was increased to $175,000. And then at that point, when I asked for an additional, I was denied that and asked for it to come out of code. And so we were able to try to get it out of code. I have $15,000 in code that we will be tapping into by the end of the year, probably within the end of the next month, in order to get us through the end of the year. And I will continue to use that money, obviously, to piece together for hourly for detention officers. But we're also heading into our holidays, and that's when we need our hourly the most, so we can get our full-time staff be able to take time off. That's what we use our hourly for. We are a 24/7 facility, and we need to be manned 24/7. We have at least 4 to 5 staff members on shift, 24/7, 365. So having only $175,000 in there for an hourly it's not sufficient in regards to being able to adequately pay our part-time staff, keep our part-time staff. So I do ask for that increase at this time.
I'm just trying to understand that 40,000. So we increased hourly 40,000 this year, so
We did.
it's
You
actually
gave me an additional.
175 plus 40,000?
Correct.
Or that 40,000 is already in that 175?
No, that 40,000 is not the 175.
So really, you're asking for an increase, but we did just put 40,000, so you really were looking for a 35,000.
That's what I was asking Karen, if
I-
that was going to carry over to next
Right.
year, then yes, then it would be less.
Because we gave her
I
40
do-
more this year there.
I do have a question on your salary. Could you give me your bottom line, because I'm not coming up with a different district from you? The 2024 number, I have $1,658,419.
For my 2025,
2024.
I have $1,656,419.
Did you have any increases in your salaries for 2024?
Yes, he does.
Pardon?
What?
For the 2024, were there any changes?
We had to make a change early in 2024 in regards to our detention manager and our assistant director.
Was that a large increase?
It was, About 2,000 for one,
Oh.
a couple thousand for one. We had our assistant director retired, and so our assistant, yeah. So there was a change there, and then we got a new detention officer.
I'm just trying to understand, are we asking for 75,000, or are we asking for
That's-
40 plus the 35?
Right, and that's what I
we've
wanted to
done
know
this
as
year.
well. Because if we're able to do that, that's fine, as long as we.
We just
don't-
have to change the bottom line and include 40,000 in the previous, next year it'll only be less than 35,000 positions.
So,
Which
even
would get us
though the
easier
health
to-
department, if they do, okay to, put in your 2 LPNs then, that isn't going to help you out, you're saying you're still needing more money?
We're still gonna need the money in regards to our part-time hourly detention officers. Yep. Yep.
And why is the health board saying no? Is this, are they checking qualifications for it, or are they, it's
So-
just they want to be?
In regards to the Senate bill, there's core areas that they need to be able to fund. And so salaries is one of the things, even hourly, is something that it can be questionable, because we don't know if that's gonna fly.
That's it, they're going to verify, that's it.
Right, so we'll find out on October 1st.
We have final reading after that, so. Not on Friday.
But yes, I mean, the increase in regards to the hourly would help us in regards to if we were able to get at least one part-time LPN, if the Senate bill, but if not, that money will go right over to the hourly for our detention officers. We really need that, especially throughout a whole year. I mean, you're looking at detention officers that have been here for 15, 20 years to weeks. So we have to pay those people adequately in order for them to stick around.
Okay, so my question would be, originally I was showing that you were asking for $110,071 increase. Are you only looking for this 35,000 plus the 8,000 now? Is that what's changed, or?
The $8,000 for the mandatory salary increases, and then, yes, if the 40,000 carries over into next year, yeah, it would just only be the 35.
So the rest of these increases you will not need? This 110 that you were asking for originally?
No, it would not be the 110,
It
no.
would be either the 75 plus the 8, or the 35 plus the 8.
Correct. And then in regards to the motor vehicle that we were requesting, I believe that in our conversations with Mike and Sylvia, Red, Andy, as we had talked about potential alternative sources in regards to obtaining a new transport vehicle, if that is still something that is on the table, that we can, okay. Because then I would feel comfortable if we're still moving forward with that
Have you
alternative.
talked to Sheriff?
I have not. They gave us a new vehicle in regards to like the fleet vehicle numbers and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Giving you a new vehicle.
Like how much it would cost.
I thought they were going to donate a vehicle.
They donated us a home detention interceptor vehicle that is used and had like 100,000 miles on it, but hey, we'll take it.
That's what's not on record.
We'll take it. We'll take it. But we're talking about getting a new
So
transport
you
van.
got one vehicle, but you're wanting another one?
A van.
A van to transport.
This is the one that, your board president said that the sheriff would trick it out, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
You guys already have a van that just needs to be replaced, or is this an
So we
additional?
have 2 vehicles right now. One was donated by Judge DeBoer. It's a Traverse that is probably like 2012, something like that. Has like 160,000 miles on it, no air, and breaks down on us once in a while, but hey, we try. The other one was purchased for us by the commissioners in 2012. And it's a van, and we've used it for all that time, and it has a lot of miles on it, and we do a lot of transporting of our kids around the state and locally, so they can get to their mental health.
Did you talk to them about buying another van? If the commissioners did it before,
Yeah.
they said no.
I believe
What did
one of
they
your
say?
vans had no heat in the winter.
One of our vans does not have heat, the other one does have air. It's interesting.
Yeah, we heard that horror story, but
Yes.
the commissioners told you no the second time?
So we've talked to the commissioners about purchasing a vehicle, and they said we need to come in front of you in regards to asking for an additional. That's what I'm doing. And then when I met with all of you, you had mentioned that there might be an alternative funding source, that we can purchase a new transport vehicle for our center. If that's moving forward and it's on the table, then I'll be more than happy to take this off my request
I think
for next year.
work out with the auditor's office on, we need to get that van. CCD.
So that's all taken care of?
Should be able to get that.
So the bottom line here,
We could take the $36,000 off if that's moving forward.
So what's the bottom line you're looking for?
So it'd be the 35,000.
No, what's that number? The motion has to say the number, so I need that number.
Calculator in front of me.
You have calculators up here, we don't have calculators.
I don't have my calculator on me.
Ryan, do you guys know what you have?
1 second.
Okay, they'll figure it out.
Here, I'll do it on paper.
So subtract out the 36,000 in motor vehicles.
Yeah, at that point, you'd be at 2,044,142.
$2,044,142?
That's correct.
I guess in this conversation about the hourly, how much expensive parts should it
Hourly juvenile detention, 190,000 and some change.
Right, I didn't, I don't gather your number, because my number for the 2025 is $2,080,000, or 80,000 or
Yeah.
Yeah, we took out,
36,000
motor vehicle.
motor vehicles.
But I thought you just said 2,400,000 something.
2,044,142.
So that's our new number. Correct, our new number is $2,044,000.
$2,044,142.
All right. I think we got it. Any other discussion with Allison?
If I take that one, the last year's budget, I had 75,000, I added the $7,998, I get $2,053,069. What did I do? Can I not just add 75,000 to the last year's budget?
No, because they only got 40,000 for last year's budget.
Back in there. As long as you guys have it.
Okay. Is it $2,044,142 is our new, bottom line number? Correct?
That's all good.
So,
If we take the last year's budget, we add $7,998, now I only have $35,000, I'm still at $2,013,000. I'm not getting the same number. It should add up, right? I mean, if I just add with their increases to last year's budget, should you guys find the right number? Wish we had the screen.
When you get back, she'll be clear too.
No, I just want to make sure we're, I believe you.
So you asked for the $40,000, Allison, and but now you're asking for 75, you're still at 192, I mean, it's, why ask for 35,000, is that?
We're gonna be out of that by the end of the year.
Yeah. So you'll be back in front of us, asking for additional?
Not by the end of this year, no. We have planned, we're getting through. Plus, we have an additional $15,000 that we're gonna be able to take out of code and hourly. So as soon as we're done with general fund, we'll be utilizing the rest of that $15,000. And we will use every penny through the holiday season for sure.
There was some changes post the book flip, so last year's budget didn't have to cut. Sorry.
okay, just to confirm, our new bottom line for, Allison is $2,044,142. Is that good? Okay, thank you. Yes, sir. Do you have any other discussion, reference,
Did you get a motion? or-
Yes.
I make a motion to approve.
we have a motion and a second.
$2,044,142.
Yes. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you.
Ooh, last one.
Well, we need a motion on the salaries.
I'm sorry?
We need a motion on the salaries with mandates.
You need so I'll make a motion to approve this, how do you want it worded, $7,998?
Just approve the 144 as submitted.
I'll make a motion to approve the 144 estimate.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve 144. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Graham.
Yes.
Brickner.
Yes.
Stone.
Yes.
Ashford.
Yes.
Bozak.
Yes.
Rivas.
Yes.
Kemp.
Yes.
Summerville.
Okay, very good, thank you. Now we can move to, the retention center codes 4916.
No changes.
Thank God.
No change.
Not what the paper says. The paper shows a $747 increase.
Huh?
It's a small increase, but I just want to make sure that we're on the same page.
What do you think?
Last year's budget, I show a 76 for savings. I show that the mandate increased $2,461 or your salaries did. I show that you went up in FICA to cover the increase $240. You went down in per $1,954, which shows a difference of $760. One of the numbers that you have, I only work on what's submitted, so.
What I had for last year's salary is $52,595, hourly $15,000, FICA $4,672, per $5,160.
What time did you make change, was that change made in January, or when was that change made from the salary?
If you had any change in salary.
This shows last year was $50,134 for salaries.
Or you put in an education coordinator?
That was made in April.
For what?
And then there was a change in January. The asset. Very close to what code 4916.
Sorry. I go with what, kind of honestly.
Okay, so there's a small increase.
I don't know where it's at, honestly.
According to this, it's just in salaries.
It's the education coordinator.
The education coordinator, that's what
Yeah.
it shows.
Education coordinator, 2004-61.
That's the difference.
You want to pay part of this in this one, or you're planning on doing it this year?
No, I wasn't asking for any increases. Salary ordinance.
Right before juvenile probation. Close.
Salary.
Sounds like it was an advertisement correction that we did, I mean, we had a couple of them at the beginning of this year, I think, that, last year's budget, so that.
What? Oh, no. Education, coordinator.
So what is that, what's the auditors, 77,427?
Make a motion to approve $77,427.
What do you think, Alan?
Huh?
What do you think, Alan?
I'm gonna go with what the auditor says. I mean, I
Honestly.
I go with what the auditor says.
Second?
Yes. There a motion and a second?
I just didn't know
Yes,
if
sir.
it came around when,
What is your bottom line for the fund?
$77,427.
That's the motion.
That's all we got.
On our motion.
That's what we got.
What's the motion?
We have a motion and a second. The bottom line matches up. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign. Okay.
We did it!
Thank Thank you very much.
Thanks, everybody.
Just on second reading.
Juvenile probation. You guys are not doing anything good?
Oh. Joy, thank you.
I need to clarify something on the budget. We met with juvenile probation, and it was discussed about needing new, radios in their cars because they couldn't go, between each other. I think, Mike, you had talked to the commissioner, we talked about doing Motorola's. The $15,000 that we need is not in the budget, because we weren't quite sure where it was gonna go or what was going on. You might need to take in consideration maybe $15,000 out of the CCD fund to pay for the $15,000 for their Motorola's. Right now, they cannot discuss or talk if there's an emergency. We wanted to get them all on the same frequency for public safety. And Mike, you were at that meeting, I don't know if you want to address that anymore.
Yeah, we're thinking about it.
I think that, we might have to, table that and bring it up to, Gwen. Yeah. We want to make sure that the radios are compatible with, if you're screaming for help, we want to make sure that other agencies can hear you. And, that's kind of the direction we want to go. And I think there was a concern that even some of the people within your own agency, depending on where they were in the building, couldn't communicate.
Right, the fellow put in a duress system, and it had a booster in that quote, a repeater that would allow them to amplify that signal and allow us to hear each other on our radios throughout the whole facility. So right now, we have some difficulty with that, and I think our expense.
I think whatever option we choose, that has to be taken care of. So we'll make sure that happens in one way or another.
Are you talking about all of JDC, including Alice meeting too? They have the same situation?
That was the goal, yeah.
That's good. Yeah, there's a duress system that, when it's alerted, it sends out a signal to handheld radios, alerting us and lets us know where to respond. And so we need to amp that up. It's not sufficient.
Good. We're going to work on that for you. Should that happen, yeah.
Thank you.
So, what else do we have here? So besides the radios?
Not included here, that's not included yet.
It was not.
That's what I was thinking.
That came out of a separate, our budget meetings.
What was the cost of the radios?
15,000?
Yeah, just under 15,000. It included radios and a repeater system and the appropriate antennas that were needed for that.
So the increase of $170,092 is due to the state mandates, plus you asked for two new
This
positions?
is twofold. We're requesting $85,467 of that is the mandated minimum salary schedules for the probation officers in the state of Indiana. And then the additional amount of that is $84,622. And that is for the request of two additional new probation officer positions. And I understand that that's something you said we're going to probably look at down the road, but I could just talk a little bit about the need for that. Those two positions we are requesting at first-year positions, that's $42,311 a year. And so for two of those, it would be the $84,622 that we discussed. And the reason we're asking for that is we have not had any probation officers assigned, any new additional probation officers assigned to our department since 2013. And so it's been over a decade. In that last, which will be 12 years in next year's budget, the landscape of probation, especially juvenile probation, has changed incredibly. The roles and responsibilities of the probation officers that are required has gone up dramatically. There's just a couple of areas I'd like to touch on. One thing, in the last 10 years, the state has mandated a risk of needs assessment. It's called the Indiana Youth Assessment System. It's a much better assessment system than we used to have. It really gives you insight into the risk and needs and what to focus on with each individual youth that you're working with. But it is more time consuming, and so it has added to the duties of probation. We also have a statewide initiative called the Juvenile Detention Alternatives Initiative. Many of you maybe have heard of that, JDAI. And that was a statewide initiative. Again, it was an endeavor to keep families intact and in the community, being less reliant on detention and placement out of the home. It does seek to provide programming and rehabilitative services within the local community. And we answered that call at juvenile probation by developing programming that the kids are able to use within the community and not have to be sent out of our community to get that. That programming, we've had it utilizing existing staff that we've had at juvenile probation. We either run the programming ourselves on Wednesday nights, we have a lot of programming going on Wednesday evenings, or we provide supervision assistance for maybe other agencies that are coming in. And then lastly, one big change in the last 10 years has been recent revisions to the Indiana probation standards. Now, the probation standards are standards across all of Indiana that are required for all probation departments. And they've called recently on engaging in the community partners and families to a greater extent and earlier in the probation process. So what that means is when we have a youth that comes before us at juvenile probation or a family that we're meeting with, and they may have a youth that we're working with, they may have a younger sibling that has issues. We're mandated to kind of work with that family, work with the Department of Child Services and try to get them services for the family, to better the family, not just the youth that's in front of us. And so those are just some of the couple things that we have changed in the last 10 years since we've added officers to it. I feel like we're at our kind of workload capacity with the existing staff that we have right now. I mean, everybody understands and knows that we've had increased violence and mental health issues just, throughout all communities. And so we're seeing that as well. We've almost had to take more of a reactionary posture than we like, kind of addressing putting out fires instead of being proactive and working with the youth and identifying the type of factors that lead to their crime. And so we want to focus on more of those criminogenic factors, and we're not able to do that if we're constantly putting out fires and being more reactionary. So that's what we're looking for, and I understand that the decision's not going to be made today, but I wanted to at least share with you one of the reasons why we're asking for additional officers to.
We are one of the, I was on the committee that put the revised juvenile probation standards together, and I have to admit that as a judicial officer of a group of people who work their tails off and are stretched to the max anyway, it was very hard for me to sit back during this process and continue. I understand the theory behind it. The theory right now is that, we've got to be more specific to every child. You can't just lump all these kids together. You can't give them a list of rules this big. You have to identify for this particular child what is the best rules, what will spur them to do better and to kind of get reform. And that all takes a ton of time. And so, we are on the front edge in Porter County in the state with our juvenile probation department and our juvenile services center. But it is very difficult to keep trying to be in the forefront on that when it's exhausting everybody. It's like we got the same pool of people being tasked with more and more intensive, personalized attention. If I go into a fancy store and I want a personal shopper, I'm going to pay for it. But here we're getting these people that are doing, really amazing work or dying trying. And, so that's what some of this is about. So we understand this, but it keeps coming down the pipe, like, you've got to do this now, you've got to do this now, you've got to do this now. It's getting tougher. And the kids are getting tougher. And mental health stuff, that we've created the transformation court to try to deal with some of these kids who have the mental health issues. And, it's a struggle, man. It's hard.
And that's where I think that SB4 could have really helped out. I mean, a lot of these kids are Porter County kids, they're our kids. And, if you get a big influx of money through SB4, it'd be nice to be able to work, you guys to be able to offer some of the programs. So,
Is that not possible?
Well, it's possible.
The
It's
problem is-
100% possible when you have a health board that you have to go to, and they ultimately make the decision, so.
It's great, we got, believe me, I'm the program queen. We didn't, we love programs,
Right.
but, you know, if you come out on Wednesday night and I invite you to do something tonight, it is hopping around there. You know, we've got three problem solving work going, we've got teamwork going, we've got all these, we've got council, juvenile justice, Jeopardy, we've got PAC meetings, I mean, it's, I don't know what else, and it's all of our people doing it. It's like they're staying and they're doing this stuff, you know, till 6, 7 o'clock at night on Wednesday. So we had another program, it's getting them more to do. You know, that's why it's kind of like, it's spread it a little bit more, so it's not just killing the same people who are.
I'm just saying, where, in my opinion, where there's a will, there's a way. If you can add mental health to your, situation with SB4 and have them somehow help you with manpower, it just frustrates me that we have $3.5 million going to health department, and then I sit here and I listen to, stuff like this, and like, there has to be a way to be able to, give you the resources needed.
So once you hit the manpower piece, then I'll shut up, I'm happy. But that's the part that,
No, I agree. I think the manpower can be somehow utilized.
I feel that instead of work the brains out. I mean, that's real.
But that's why we're asking for those additional positions.
We appreciate that very well. I mean, it's well received of the burden. Not something, we'll be tabling the 2 positions. As far as any additional people at this point, we need
I make a motion for this, was it the state mandated $85,457, would that be it?
we take out those 2 positions.
Brad, that new total, I believe, would be 1,917.
I'm sorry, that's just for the raise.
I have a question about the 144. And I know the state mandated, is it mandated, like, how come you get a small raise and like the other people get a bigger raise? And how is that, is there a percentage? It can't be a percentage. Is it divided by how you choose, or does the state tell you this person gets to make this much?
Yeah, we give it incremental increases every year for the first 5 years. So you're going to start off at 42, and then year 2 you get another raise up to 5 years, then it stops, and then you don't get another one for 10 years, and then 15, and then it tops out at 20. And so that's where they are, and there's sometimes there's increases for individuals who have their master's degree, they get a bonus and things like that. So that's all worked in there, and that's why you see that variation. And then I think this year they gave everybody a 3% increase across the board as well. So that's why you see maybe some people just got some small increase because they were due for their step increase.
When you say they get their master's degree and they get a bonus, is that more like a stipend as opposed to an increase in their salary?
No, it's a salary increase.
Yes.
That would close out the general.
Did you have a second in your motion?
Well, you were asking for the numbers, so would it be the 1,401,964 minus the 84? Yeah, so I got $1,317,342. That's my motion.
Second. Motion is second. Adjusted bottom line, any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
You made a motion on 144 to include the mandate too.
I'm sorry, read a roll
Made a
call.
motion on the 144 to include the new mandate.
Okay.
I make a motion on the 144 to include the new mandate.
What's 144, I thought we were
The
making.
total of 144 would be $1,282,842.
That's for the new, the mandated salaries?
That includes the mandate, without the 2 additional people.
Okay. So we have a motion. We have a second.
I'm not sure, but
We have a motion, we have a second for the 144.
It's required by the state.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Graham.
yes.
Brickner.
Yes?
Stone.
Yes.
Vasquez.
Yes.
Bozak. Rivas.
Yes.
Sims.
Yes.
Six.
Motion carries. Thank you. juvenile probation still, admin.
This is the same, it has not changed from last year, and this is three individuals at $5,000 each, are taking it supplemental, so it doesn't have to go to the general fund. We're pretty tapped out on that, that fund, it runs pretty consistent with that.
So you think it's gonna go down, increase of 240,
No, it reduced by
down, okay.
Yeah, and then
$84. It was in line, 1210, $534 down, per 1230, $50 down.
Okay.
Any motion?
We have a motion,
Motion to approve.
and we have a second. What, we already have a motion, make a second.
Oh, second. Sorry.
That's fine. We have a motion and a second to approve. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. So now we're at juvenile probation, supplemental.
this we're actually asking for, to be reduced, it was budgeted at $123.70, and we're going to go down to $85,171. Those decreases were reflected in the salaries. It was $18,430, we're taking it down to $2,500. We had partial salaries of myself, Assistant Chief Shields, Supervisor Payne, were moved to the general fund, just because they was not able to continue to sustain this amount. Then we also reduced hourly to zero, and then FICA and PERF, just to reflect those salary changes. We reduced consultants from 9,000 to 5,000, and then data processing from 4,500 to 3,000. Again, this is a fund that one time we were running a surplus, and we haven't been over taxing it to kind of get it down. It's down there to like, I think last time I checked was in the $40,000 that we had remaining in there. And so we don't even, probably aren't going to make enough even budget, to do the 85, but we don't always spend that much. So I think we'll be okay, but.
So we have a total reduction of $34,547.
I think he had an additional, I think the total reduction of $37,899.
Okay.
Because you said your numbers originally were 123,070, and then the current budget is 85,171.
Yeah, I had 120,370.
Oh, 370.
I'm sorry, yeah. 120,370, and then the new one is 85,171.
So our total reduction is still 34,537. Is that correct?
Yeah, 35,199 reduction.
Okay. Better yet.
Any motion on that 85,171?
Second motion.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone.
And a pleasure, I don't think I'll be there next year. Seems like that's going to be guys, you've been wonderful.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Adult probation. Looks like, adult probation, we have mandated increases. Looks like mandated increase of 89,752.
That is correct.
That's how much?
Yes. And then the.
Those are the only increases?
Correct.
Any questions? Yeah.
for $1,260,000, I wish I had my reading glasses, $69,408. Okay, I just want to make sure.
What did you guys just talk about? Those all probation numbers? Is that 2023 numbers?
2024.
I just wanted to verify because because there were a lot of changes made in the probation, at the beginning of the year and otherwise, and I wanted to make sure the numbers were correct before we went into it. I saw a difference of 89,752 increase, correct? Correct. And there are no other changes in the budget.
I'm just confused because I'm just looking at the book and it shows the 2024 budget was $1,508,863. And then the difference is $33,297.
You're looking at adult probation general fund?
Yes, ma'am. 0274 and then fund 1,000. Yeah, I just want to make sure we're talking about the same thing.
What did you say that number was?
For 2024, $1,508,863. And then the 2023 was $1,278,883.
I don't have 23. I just got the $1,260,948.
Who makes the book?
Where are you in? Andy, where are you at?
This front page.
On the front page? Yeah, very.
Right after the green adult probation.
Right, okay.
The first page, I show $1,508,000.
I ran that off of the budget simulator that they have on the thing because I was worried that they didn't have in 9164 adult probation community corrections. You had no zero, you had all zeros in that, so I just was trying to show you guys that maybe we need to ask about that fund too.
Okay, so now if you go to the yellow one, Andy, right here, go
Thank
click
you.
right
Go to the
here.
yellow.
It should be 1269408. Right, keep going, keep going.
They've already addressed that in a different budget.
It's not 1,269.
Oh, right here. One, keep going.
This is a different, this says.
So the increase is just the mandated raises,
Right.
and it's the $1,542,000.
Hold on, I don't understand.
Yes.
Make that motion.
Can you explain the motion, because I have no idea.
And add the state mandated raises to the number that I have on this, $1,542,160. Like,
But that's a huge increase based on what you just said.
89,752 for state mandates.
But he's coming up with 1.5. I thought you just said 1.2 or something.
Because there was $173,000 for toxicology in there. Part of the budget is the 3964 for $173,000.
That was in the 24 budget. Yeah, can we go back to the main page here, or can we try to figure this out or see, like, what is this? Like, the thing that Joy, this is really easy to do.
We didn't get that, but that's something Joy did.
Yeah,
So what happened is one of their funds that's about to come up here, not this one, did not get approved for 2025 funding. So they moved it from one of their funny funds to another funny fund. What I think Joy did was put it in this budget to make sure that it got accounted for because she saw all zeros. But it's getting accounted for in another budget, just not this one.
Can you just tell me what the 2023 approved budget was, and what the 2024, and then what the 2025 that we're voting on now is? That answers my question.
2024 was $1,452,408. The 2025 total is $1,542,160.
Which is the state.
Now it all makes sense. Okay, thank you.
No worries.
Sorry, Jeremy.
I don't remember. Do we have a motion?
I think
Okay,
Jeremy
Jeremy made a motion.
motion.
I second it.
And a second. Any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
144 for the state mandate.
Here, we'll roll call on that 144. We have a motion on the state mandated.
I'll make a motion to accept the state mandated raise increases of 89,752. On the form for
144.
144.
Second. Second.
And second. Roll call, please.
Turner,
Yes.
Stone.
Yes.
Aspen.
Yes.
Bozak.
Aye.
Reavis.
Yes.
Sims.
Yes.
Graham.
Yes.
Perfect. And adult probation, user fees. Is that what we have next here? And supplemental, right?
Supplemental, run the supplemental, I believe.
I thought it was-
Skip one. Skip, I missed something?
So the adult probation, PP pretrial 9164. Then never mind.
The 2101, I have an increase of 116,853
Okay, yep.
for the,
Same one.
144.
Same one, right?
That's what
And
I
the
got.
total I have increase for the total budget is 138,882, which is a total budget of 589,002.
Yeah. So, increase, looks like your increase in line 1110 for 116,000.
The number that you said, was that just salary, or was that the entire budget?
589,302.
Are these all mandated wages increases?
I can just remember, five, six, nine,
So what you're seeing in this particular budget actually is related to the next budget that's on our agenda. The next budget is a grant fund, and at the time that we submitted our budgets for the county, we were concerned that we were not going to get that grant funding. So what we did was we zeroed out that grant fund and moved those dollars into the user fee account. Just in case we didn't get that grant funding, so on January 1, we would still be able to pay the salaries of the individuals that were paid out of that grant fund. Since the submission of our county budget, we did receive word that we did get grant funding. So what we would do then is, if the budgets are passed as they stand today, then in January, we will come back and we will make an amendment then to move the dollars from the supplemental back into that grant fund.
Now, actually tonight, because we publish for the grant fund anyway, you can pass the grant fund if you have those numbers.
I do.
Let's finish this 2101 first with the numbers, because you moved things over.
But we can pass both tonight because they both been published. Yes.
Okay, so Madam Auditor, we need a motion and a second on,
That's fine, and we'll still have to come back to the additional January to cover the difference in what it is. But the actual budget can get passed.
What are the numbers that you have normally?
So the total amount received is going to be 138,882.
That would be increase.
That will be the increase in the grant fund budget.
Okay, what's the 2101 numbers? What number is that you have for 2101? What is your supplemental?
This out of line.
No, for the increase in salary, we need a salary. What's the numbers for the salary increase?
For the salary increase in 2101,
Correct.
for just total annual salaries for 2025, the request was for $521,723.
Okay, that's work on that I can also. What is the number that you have for the full total budget?
$566,973.
What was that again?
$566,973.
I only show two increases, well, I showed 116,853 increase, as well as, FICA, we didn't have anything in the previous year. So that went up, and then the PERF, 13,000, so those two numbers added up to differences between you, but you and I know.
So historically, we've not included those in our budget?
Pardon?
Historically, we've not included those in our budget?
I didn't see them in 2024.
Right, they weren't in 2024, we did not have them in 2025. So if you're showing them in 2025, that's what we have.
That's our difference.
Do we want those in there, correct?
No, historically, we've not.
Ms. Martin, please.
But in all actuality, from funds that, due to the fact that the county has some concerns about the other funds, usually the funds of the other ones, we have tried to move the FICA, maybe not the first, but we tried to move the FICA over to cover some of those costs. So I guess the question is, are you going to have enough money in that fund to cover that?
Yes, we will.
So are you covering just the FICA or the FICA and the FERC?
What were those numbers?
Pardon?
What were those numbers?
The number we have for FICA is 8,940, and for FERC we have $13,089. So you're talking about 22,000.
And will that remain the same going forward year after year then? Because we've never done it in the past, so that's why.
Well, that's what you'll have to work with the council, it's their decision. It's their decision, I mean, you have to tell them whether you can afford it, substantiate, and sustain it. That would be the question.
Going into 2025, especially knowing that we received grant funds that we did, then I believe that we can support that.
I'm sorry, could you?
I believe we can support that, so we can add that.
I had a question. We got 2 probation officers that are under vacancy. How long have those been vacant? Is that years, or is it newer? Is it vacant for like?
No. And actually, we just interviewed today, hoping to fill them.
Just curious, thank you.
Okay, just to recap, is our bottom line, we have 138,882, Madam Lambert?
That would be the increase, the total budget is $589,002 for the total budget.
And those are all state mandated raises, right? Plus FICA, plus PERF. That's the only thing. Make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Any other discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Now we need a vote on the 144, the total is $521,723.
Making motion to accept 521,723 for Form 144.
Second. We have a motion and a second for Form 144. Discussion. Roll call, please.
Stone.
Yes.
Ashworth.
Yes.
Bozak.
Yep.
Rivas.
Yes.
Kim.
Yes.
Graham.
Yes.
Brickner.
Yes.
Stelling.
Motion carries. That it there?
No, this is Ryan's favorite part, he wants to do the grant release.
For what?
The grant that was approved.
So, I mean, we do, once we can approve for 138,882 for that fund.
Does that just take a motion to approve that?
You can, yeah.
Okay, you want to do that now?
What is the motion to state?
To approve the grant fund?
What's the?
What's the number again? I can't hear you, I'm sorry.
138,882.
882? Yes, sir. And this is just allowing her to use that money for next year. This money that won't be spent out of this fund? Or will she be allowed, because it's approved for both, she'll be allowed to pay from both or use both? Or what kind of liability do we open up? Anything? No big deal?
So if, what you just did was you approved this budget in the last budget. So we can either wait until January, reduce it, and move it over, or you can just do it now and then reduce it in January.
I don't know, January. January works for me. Sorry.
What's the pleasure of council?
I said January, I don't know what it was.
So then, yeah, the.
10th of January, just
Then you
move
would just
on.
pass it as a zero budget, and then we would just do the transfer in January.
And then we get good news in January, when we remind her that we had it right.
Either way, I would have to come back in January and ask for an adjustment, so we can do the reduction and the increase at the same time.
I'll come back and
You have to do both of them in January then.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
All right, that's
You have to
good
do
night.
both of them, you have to do the additional.
Thank you.
In this, 9134, and then reduction in the other.
In January.
In January.
All right. Okay. We visit that in January. And now we are at, public defender, general fund.
Looks like there's a $1,000 increase for liability insurance. I move to approve the bottom line number of 903,753.
Second. We have a motion, is that a second? Did I hear a second?
Yeah, Jeremy.
We have a motion and a second to approve. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carries. Public defender supplemental fund,
Got to do 144 for the general fund.
42, 144.
For which one?
Public defender general fund.
Doesn't have a change, does it?
No, but it's still over 144.
Doesn't matter, it doesn't have change.
Wait a minute, so they're hiring, there's somebody new coming in?
No, there's no change.
There's no change, so we don't have to vote on it, I'm saying, right? I'm not arguing.
No, I didn't mean to
Okay.
go over us, but we can just carry on.
So no 144?
We're good.
Okay, we're good. So now we're public defender supplemental budget,
Yes, sir.
no change.
It shows a decrease of $20,000. Did they lose something, or? Because it also says shared by 3 departments.
Yeah, the court.
That's the county
That was the
board.
one that the courts didn't turn in.
Wait, what?
The one earlier that the courts did not turn in, that was the $20,000 reduction.
You're looking under 20271. I just wanted to show you that fund is shared by 3.
I'm looking at the next one on our list, it says PD supplemental, right here it says reduce 20 grand. Right here in my book, it shows PD supplemental, reduce 20 grand. Oh. That's.
That's the same. This has 3 different departments in there. But this is shared.
So the bottom line is 94?
Correct.
First one.
We have a motion to approve 94,000.
Second.
And we have a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carries. Now, let's see here, court community corrections. There's no change. There's no change.
Make a motion to second.
We have a motion and a second to
Hold on, I didn't get to the number, is it 94,000?
81,572.
That's my motion.
What is the most?
81,572.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. No change.
Okay, we have a motion, and here we have a second. We have a second,
Second.
and a second. Yep. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carried. Okay. Assessor.
It's reduced by $50,000.
Motion to approve on the information now in order.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Are you moving that, or just giving us back money, or what's that?
Well, if you recall, back in April, I came in and asked for some additional funding to help do some commercial reassessments, and that contract came in much lower than we had anticipated, so giving back $50,000.
And are you sticking with them? I heard it's producing, so you stay with that company, or is this just a
Yeah.
one-time? And you guys are still training with them to learn?
Yeah.
Thank you, thank you.
keep kicking butt.
Thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
That was astounding.
Okay, we have reassessment.
Hey, they're gonna
Motion to approve Board A, $9,745.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. Portage Township Assessor.
And we got no changes.
It's actually reduced. Looks like no change.
There's a reduction and a change.
The reduction is in the next one.
Motion to approve $268,988.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you.
Well, we got one more, we got the reassessment for this.
Reassessment?
Yep. I make a motion for $90,672.
This is the reduction?
Sir, do we have a second?
I
A second.
We have a motion and a
I
second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Coroner. We had an increase of $95,032.
Wait, what?
Increase of $95,032. Coroner.
This was for hourly, I believe, we boosted up hourly pay.
Yeah, we're doing that, not in here. Smart, do you know how that works?
What happened was, when it was approved, it was only for the second half of the year, so we needed a full year. That's why there was a $45,000 increase, and then there was a $20,000 increase with reference to autopsies, and a $10,000 increase, overall, so there's a total of $95,032.
Wow.
There's a lease purchase of $20,000 also, which is $37,30.
What's that, the van?
Yeah, still trying to get the name.
This is what the twenty not what is it?
Well, what I did was, I don't have an exact, quote for 2025, but I just raised everything 10%, and, when I went, it's really loud.
No, it isn't.
Yeah, that was, man.
When I went in front of, met with commissioners, the LEACH program is what they, are kind of wanting me to do. And so I was told that I had to put this in my budget for the van.
Why does autopsy keep going up? Like, the number just keeps going higher and higher, we're at $275,000 now.
Well, I had to ask for the $20,000 to finish out the year, this year. Autopsies, basically run a little over $3,000. We've been averaging 11 autopsies a month for this year. So right now, they're down to about $2,100 an autopsy. And there was a concern when I came in front to get the additional about a contract with the pathologist. So I contacted him, we're gonna sit down and kind of talk and see if we can get a contract
My
together.
concern is that every year that that I've been back on the council, you come in front of us to ask for more money. I'm not saying it's not justified, but you're always asking for more money.
I
And
know.
every time I tell you to add it to the budget next year, so we should at some point catch up. There should not be an increase one year. I mean, we pay this guy a lot of money. And I'm not coming down on people, I'm just trying to say, what can we do?
I know.
Because you're talking about wheeling and dealing after you ask for the budget. Why aren't you wheeling and dealing now and telling them, hey, we're just gonna, I don't know, not for someone cheaper or something?
He has a,
I'm just asking.
It, I don't have my own, or the county doesn't have their own county board.
Yeah, we talked about that.
I'm pretty restricted to, I don't have the ability to just bring in another pathologist. There's not a lot of forensic pathologists in the state. So I'm kind of caught a little bit, so we're gonna work on it. I know that's a concern of yours, so.
Just from a calculation, at 11 autopsies per month, that's approximately 132 a year. And at $2,100, you're talking about 277,200, which is, she's asking for 270. So unless it's a reduction, I just wanted to let you know.
I'm just trying to figure it out, because I feel like we should have a little more pushback. We should be able to deal just a little bit more, and I'm completely whacked out.
I talked to another coroner just on this issue,
Okay.
and I'll tell you, he said the same, there's not a lot of them out there. And he said, he didn't know the particular gentleman, because he worked with two other
Yeah.
ones in another county.
And the other pathologists that work at the hospital, they don't do the autopsies anymore.
Does the other hospital we have, like in Chesterton, have a morgue that we could utilize, or hey, talk to them?
No.
Nothing in Old County.
Sorry, I just asked.
We have one, we have one hospital in the county with a morgue.
It still would be nice to get them kind of pegged down for the year.
Yeah,
As far as that dollar
like
amount.
I said, I know that was one of your concerns, so
Yeah.
I talked to him and we're gonna sit down and talk and.
And I just happened to run into a
Something,
gentleman who was
you know,
a coroner, so I started asking him, like,
Can't
no,
figure it out, and you run into the corner.
yeah, well, it was, believe it or not. It was, and, it was an interesting conversation, so, I felt a little bit better after talking to him.
So I'm hoping that, this won't be increased again.
See, this is what my concern is. You haven't sat down and talked with him, said you're going to. You're doing your budget now. So what assurance do we have that you're going to come back in January and say, well, I sat down and talked, and it's gonna cost more?
Well, right now, I've already talked to him and we're set at, the 22.5 a month. That, we can't go over that right now. I told him that I wouldn't.
So as of the first of the year, maybe you could. Is that what you're saying?
That I could, what,
Go up.
go up?
My concern is,
No, right now, right now, we're gonna be set at that.
for next year.
For next year, that's why I'm asking this much money. So, because I've already had to come before you this year to ask for the increase.
Right.
So I'm adding this into the budget, so I'm hoping I won't have to come in front of you next year. But like I said, I'm limited to who I can bring into that hospital. So we're going to try to sit down and work out something. We did have an MOU set up, but that wasn't working out so well with all of you, so that was.
Why is that?
Why wasn't it working?
Because it changed every 6 months, it went up.
I guess what I'm saying
Yeah.
is you would think that if I was him, I would say, you know, look at, I'm gonna be $2,700 in that house. You know, and you think to go with the batch, some are probably a little bit longer, some are a little bit shorter, I imagine depending on the depth of the weight. But no, but I'm just, whatever it is, 2,000, you know, and I think we're just kind of we're trying to just look for a little more certainty on what it's gonna be a year.
I understand that.
You know?
I do. I understand that. But like I said, I don't have a whole lot of options.
At 22.5 a month, if we're having 11 autopsies, they run about $2,045 a piece.
Does the pathologist have to have privileges at Porter Hospital?
Yes.
So he's the only one is he the only forensic pathologist with privileges at Porter Hospital?
Yes.
Your knowledge, okay, so.
Yes.
And the process to add somebody else, I would assume is gonna have to involve Porter Hospital.
It would have to involve a hospital. I can't bring, I might be able to adjust it, but I don't know, I don't have that privilege to bring somebody else in there.
Let's say if you did bring somebody in there, would there be a cost involved with that?
I would do whatever.
Well, we basically rent the morgue space right now. Every time we have an autopsy, it's $225.
And that would be included in like 3730, which is lease purchase for $20,000. correct?
I thought that was for the vehicle.
No, she doesn't have to be up from here.
No, the one above it, is that the one you're talking about?
No, 730 is your lease purchase for 20,000, that's your,
Oh, that's for the vehicle.
that's for the vehicle?
Yeah.
And then you're going up to 10,000 on other services as well, what's that increase on?
That, because I had to go in front of you because we were having so many autopsies this year that, every time we have an autopsy, we have to pay the $225, depending on, if we have to have x-rays. The only thing that I can negotiate with the hospital is the price of the x-rays, CT scans, and lab work. I've gotten that down to very minimal that we have to pay.
Do they hourly increase in 20 grand? Is that?
The hourly
Do you guys got hourly increase in 20 grand? Just the regular hourly payroll?
No, the hourly is increased by 45,000.
What's that?
The hourly is increased by 45,000.
Oh. Okay.
And that was what we did earlier this year.
That's when you voted to pay them for just being on call.
Okay.
Yes.
I mean, I'll tell you, so really the only thing that this is a large increase. I think we're kind of forced to do it on some of these things. With the vehicle, I don't know that we should look at that right now. Just because we're talking about
That's
massive
fine.
amount.
And the additional 10,000 into other services for the hospital fees, I mean, I can't tell you how many autopsies we're gonna have next year. So if you want me to, like, just hold back on that, I can, because possibly we won't need that money. But then there's a possibility towards the end of the year, I'm gonna have to come in front of you to ask for it to finish out the year. So it depends on.
So really, if we were to look at it, we could pass the hourly and the $20,000 increase for the pathologist, and we're at 65,032. And then you might have some.
Well, the pathologist, that's what he's charging.
No, I'm not taking that down.
I'm not which one are you?
I was saying, if I would make a motion, I wasn't gonna do the vehicle, and I wasn't gonna do the other services, if you need that money, you gotta come in front of us again. That would equal 65,032 increase. And that's the kind of ones that we have to do, because you gotta pay the pathologist, you gotta pay the people that we gave increases to.
So take 30 grand off.
That's what I'm thinking. That's my thought, I mean, you guys.
Second.
Okay, my motion is that.
Bottom line is 581,101.
My motion is 581,101, which is giving you the pathologist, it's giving you the pay hourly, but it's not giving you the vehicle and other services at this time. We still need to figure the vehicle out, I get that, but we gotta find out a better way, we gotta get through this budget.
I've got a question too. The autopsies, when, I guess somebody shoots themselves and they need to find a bullet, can you do that with just an x-ray instead of asking for an autopsy?
We have to use the morgue to do the x-ray, and the pathologist has to be present to do the x-ray.
So if the pathologist is there during an x-ray, we get charged for an autopsy?
Every time we use that morgue, we get charged $225.
But I'm asking for the autopsy though. You said the autopsy.
Every time we use the morgue, whether it be an x-ray or a full autopsy, we get charged $225.
I'm not asking for the 225, I'm asking if a victim comes in and there's a bullet in that body, right? Can that, and the police want to know where that bullet is, instead of an autopsy, can it be done with an x-ray to save the county money?
We can do it with an x-ray, but usually the reason why the police are asking about the bullet is they want to retrieve the bullet, and the only person that can retrieve it is the pathologist.
So going in and retrieving the bullets is the full charge for the autopsy. Right?
Put you in legal jeopardy too, because there's a, I mean, if the police are asking you to do something, you wanna have a, I would imagine, a pathologist do it.
Yeah,
Because that's
yeah.
what he says, I would imagine.
There's criteria set forth in statute in terms of when an autopsy is to be performed. And
And so I think it's a fact-sensitive question as to whether an autopsy has to be done. Families can request autopsies, and sometimes they won't be approved because it may not meet the criteria. And so in a situation like that, if you've got the police asking to retrieve, they want that bullet, or they want confirmation that it was a suicide, I would imagine you're probably going to be involved in an autopsy. It's going to be one of those cases.
And
I know what you're saying
yeah.
is it's just but even in a situation like that, if there was no question it was a suicide, I don't know if they would even need to do an X-ray to see where the bullet was.
We don't do autopsies on every suicide, but if the police have indication that there may be something other than suicide, we always work with the police department. If we have an overdose, and we don't do autopsies on every overdose, but the drug unit, if they want an autopsy, we do it because they need to prove that person didn't die of any other natural causes. So we work very closely with them. We do have a lot of criteria that we have to follow. When it comes down to it, I can decide after I talk to the deputy coroners if we really, really need that autopsy or not. But we do have some standards that we have to follow. And another thing that we're running into is there was a law passed last year. We don't have a trauma center in Porter County, so a lot of our motor vehicle accidents get flown out. If that person goes to St. Joe County, he dies, we get charged for their autopsy.
And that happens, it's reversed, if we do it for them, we bill that too.
Yeah, but
We don't have a trauma center.
most likely we're not going to because we don't have a trauma.
A lot of them probably go to Oak Lawn, I imagine, right?
Well, they go to St. Joe, they go to Fort Wayne, they go to Chicago, yeah, it just depends. And then I just had one recently, Marion County, they called me and we conversed about it, we discussed it, and depending on the circumstances, we agree or disagree, But our county will be charged if they choose to do so. They are allowed to do that. So we would be charged the toxicology fee, the autopsy fee, whatever involves that autopsy to find out the cause and manner of death.
Okay, so, we have a motion minus 20,000?
Yeah, I do 10,000.
$30,000 services and.
So I think it's 58,110.
No, it's 581, 101, right?
No, I'm sorry, 581, 101, I'm looking at this.
So, Karen, can I
Just a couple.
Karen, can I double check a number with you? Okay, the hourly, I had a number of 47,254, am I off?
I think what you were talking about was the increase to 7 people for training, and that wasn't included in this month.
Okay.
That's my understanding.
Okay.
Does that make sense that we're passing? Does this all make sense that we're passing? That number's got it?
She has individuals that work at other locations that have to be trained, and she wants to make sure that money is there to train them instead of taking it out and having to come back.
And that's what we're approving, right? That's what,
Well, we didn't include the training in it.
where is the training?
2,000.
There's additional money not on here?
She said her amount was 47,000, we had 45,032, so there would be a $2,000 difference.
And then training would make that up.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
We should
Probably include it.
want to take that out too, as a council.
What was your amount, Cindy?
I had 47,254.
Only 2,000 for training.
Yeah, so confused. It's trading an ad rush of 2,000, no change. It's only $2,000, good.
but she has to pay these individuals. It's not the training program that you have to pay registration fees, she has to pay these individuals.
So where's that, what line item?
It's not, it wasn't included, that's why she has a $47,254, and we only have a $45,032.
And we didn't advertise it, so we couldn't do it anyway?
Well, that's not true, we
Oh, we over-advertised?
over-advertised.
You got enough to get the year started with the training that you currently have? Or whatever you need?
I have she just went to training this past weekend, and then she goes back next weekend. And then I for sure have one
This is for next year.
February, possibly a second.
So what we needed to do, Ms. Martin, would be increase the 2,000 from 2,000 to 4,000 for training?
She just has, $2,222 approximately added for training. So the totally assessment is the training that goes in the hourly. I understand it's an hourly rate for the individual that's trained.
I'm gonna keep my motion the same, we're gonna leave that off in my motion. I don't know if the second agrees, but I'm not gonna have that 2,000 at this time. I don't know, the second, I think it's Jeremy.
I'm sticking with it. It's not gonna be paid hourly, because I think we talked about this a little bit. They're going to train, pay them on hourly, and then, maybe you adjust their schedule for the month, so you should pay for a training, so I would just say that.
So you said it?
Yes.
We have a motion and a second.
581-101.
Correct.
Yep. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you.
And,
You have a couple more.
sorry, what?
She has enough.
Fatality and accident.
Oh,
Oh, no change, no.
Oh,
We have a motion
Second.
and a second. Fatality review. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carries.
We got one more.
We got another one?
Yes,
One more.
Oh, yes.
Oh.
4,500.
We have a motion
Second.
and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Now,
Thank you.
all right, recorder.
You guys always are at the bottom of the list.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah.
So we have an increase of $196,891 total.
And then I see a reduction, so is there kind of money being moved around here, is that what's going on?
Are you just moving some money around, moving to a different fund? Anyway, why don't you tell us?
Last year, they moved money from the general fund to one of its funny funds to cover some of their employees, so that can fund other departments.
So we're moving that back?
This is one of them that would like to move back to the general fund if possible.
What if you left it there, how much money's in this? What if we don't move it, is it not gonna make it, is that what we're moving it, because you have plans for the money?
There's like $600,000, $700,000.
Remember that we had nearly, or maybe even a little bit more than $1 million in there a couple of years ago. I believe last time we looked, it's around 400,000.
So if we kept at this pace in the next 4+ years, this budget would be,
So 5 years will be out of money?
yes.
5 years,
Well, it's gonna be kind of-
Pretty good amount of time.
The council.
So that money was moved out of the general fund into
Records
workforce funny fund.
You helped to move the money to make room for it last year.
Yes. So we're moving this back to the general fund because that fund is drying up.
I don't know. if
5 years.
That's just being proposed.
Why did we move that in the first place?
Because the general fund is hurting.
We've done it in a lot of different funds.
that have
Right.
employees. We have a lot of different funds that have employees and fee-based funds.
Right.
They're one, and they work with us. I just don't, my opinion is, we're not at that point in time. I mean, maybe we need to start looking at slowly moving one or two, I guess, the prosecutor coming in front of us in a couple days and tell us he needs to move a bunch out of one of his fee-based funds. We have a number of employees that we have fee-based funds, so I don't blame him for trying to move back in, but, you know, maybe that's something we can look at over time, but I would say we keep it the same at this point in time.
How many people are coming out of it?
Every salary comes out. There's a partial amount, so.
It's like 50% of the salary
Yeah.
is coming out.
Okay, that's what I'm seeing for the difference. Okay.
Yeah.
How does it, and I know, look at the next one, but the reduction of the perpetuation fund is $364,000, and the increase is only $196. How come it's not the same? Is there other reductions that, I'm not trying to skip ahead, I'm just trying to understand.
Okay. Councilman, can you repeat that question?
Well, so for us, we've got this, the recorder, general fund, it's going to increase $196,000 in the last year. The recorder, whatever that one is, reduction is $364,000.
So, Andy, the reason because of that is if you reduced it to 364, and then you moved the 196 over, plus what was already in there, that would equal 364. So you're just really moving the difference over. So the 196 would be the difference.
Talking about FICA for stuff like that.
What is,
Exactly what Brian said.
Well, and the
What
other
is
thing
your-
is,
thank
that's
you.
doing, okay, the other thing is that it is being reduced. It would be their refining of records of 150,000, because they don't have to do that, they've done a lot of that.
Oh, it's complete.
That's one of them. There are a couple other ones that are, as the report that you've got shows which one's going up and which one's going down. If you go through them, the first salaries is going down by 196,891 out of the records perpetuation. And then you've got the FICA that's going down 19,376 because the previous year it was 23,991. And then you've got FERC going down 35,123. So that's why it's a large reduction, because it's not just the 196, there's 150,000 refining of records and things of that sort.
So there's, if we didn't move this, I mean, what is your plan with that money? Is there a reason that we needed it back now? Is this something we're doing, or can we do it another year or two, or what?
I think the auditor's office has looked at this a little bit more than I have. I mean, we've got the numbers where it's going to dry up in like 4 years or something like that, I think you said.
I think we have to look at it. I mean, we really before maybe we start adding any more employees on the phone, we have to slowly start looking at bringing some of these employees back over the next couple of years. So, I mean, I understand what he's trying to do, but I'm not sure. Maybe at the end of the second reading, we can see, you know, if we can bring his name a couple over. I mean, like I said, the prosecutors that sit in front of us are not the same thing.
Who's being paid out of that? Is that your people?
What's that?
Who's being paid out of that fund?
Everyone.
Yeah, everybody. Everybody's salary in my office. There's a piece of it that gets paid out.
Everybody, county, all county employees. Is that?
Say no.
Perpetuation fund? No, the perpetuation fund takes care of only our staff.
3/4.
Yours, yeah, our staff. And is it designed for salaries? No.
It's not really designed for, that's not the exact purpose of what the perpetuation fund is for. It's designed to do projects, it's
To maintain the records.
to maintain the records. Now, can you do it? Yes, but that's not what it's designed for.
So really, we're paying people out of there, and that's not what it's set up for.
That's not what
It's
it's-
paid out of that fund.
Right. And that's why we're trying to pull it back into the general fund where they should, and that's where everybody's salary should come
Well,
from.
And that, and so.
I don't disagree with what Jeremy said. I mean, it doesn't have to be all or nothing. I mean, but it's just, we are really trying to get things put back in the buckets that they're supposed to be put in.
There's been a lot, we've seen funds grow, you know, fee-based funds grow with big balances, so, you know, we've tried to adjust things over the years.
this is going on before I got here, you know, employees have been leaving. Yeah, so we've done it, and his offices work with us.
Well, just because we've done it, I don't, doesn't mean it's the right thing to do.
I think the one difference between the ones that we take salaries out of were set up that you could take salaries out of those money funds. Grants specifically states it can be used for salaries as well as other systems or other things that have to do with, this is not, this is specifically such maintain records. Now, that's not to say you can't put a couple people in there, but put 50% of this general fund budget into records perpetuation. I mean, the question is, when does it stop? Because if it's 4 years, you're saying right now, when you're giving raises and salaries, you're going to be addressing it and putting 50% of it in this fund, which is going to increase and reduce sustainability, but increase the cost overall. So I would suggest maybe 1 or 2 full-time people being moved over here, but not 50% of their salaries, because you're affecting every individual in this office.
So how much would that?
Chuck, are we talking, if I
Apples
remember
to apples,
right,
in previous years, we have, you and I briefly talked about that. Are we talking about the same thing in terms of, this was monies that were used as a part of that statutory exception for this perpetuation?
So I know we run this every year.
Yeah, so I'm not taking any position one way or the other, but statutorily, the perpetuation fund can be used for general fund expenses for the office, but there has to be certain hoops that have to be jumped through. They have to affirm, the office has to affirm that there's sufficient funds in the perpetuation fund to sustain it, and then the council has to approve that as well. There's an affidavit that's required, which has been done in previous years. So I'm just, background-wise, just letting everybody know.
When we get to the end of this, and there's, like I said, there's a couple, we can look at some different funds. Maybe we can, if it works this year, it's something that I think we have to look at definitely over the next couple of years.
Yeah.
The prosecutor's saying the same thing, so. But I'm gonna make a motion to keep it the same as 116, 710 as last year for the time being. Maybe we could address it, you know, at their reading, final reading.
Yeah, but if this fund is not designed to support, and it doesn't have a long-term, support system, we're kind of kicking the can down the road with not moving this money over to where it should be.
Well, we could also
be some of the money.
We could also be just kicking it till October, the final reading, where we're able to move some of, because I like where you guys are coming from, you're right, we do need to start, we don't want it all hitting at once, and we're trying to build 249 all of a sudden. We don't want that all hitting us, so maybe at the last reading, we do move a few over, but this is a large thing right now, and I think it's gonna help our bottom line if we don't make that move at this time, until we have more budgets under our belt.
I agree, Andy.
Can I make another suggestion?
Yeah.
All right. How about we just do like 3 of the employees?
How many are in there now?
7.
Well, I think that's what we're hoping to get
And
to.
then we can
but-
move one of the years, like 2-3 years, we get everybody into the general fund, but we just started off as a
So that would be more fair of a transition than thinking it as is, because to me, we're just passing it down to,
We're not down the road, or
Yeah.
taking the can.
I mean, that makes more sense than keeping it status quo.
How does that sound to everybody if I make that adjustment, that we just take 2 salaries? Serious salaries.
I think we need to wait to the end, I mean, and see it, because it's not the only one. I'm not saying I won't vote to do that. We do have to slowly look at all these different money funds, and slowly, before we go out and start hiring anymore, I think we slowly have to make some corrections with these funds. I said we get the final reading and see what the number is and what we've spent to see, can we look at a couple funds and start shifting them back over and get raises at the same time, and if we can do 1 or 2, on a couple funds, I think that's what we should try to do.
And I would add on to that, that you've been very fair to us over the past years working with us on this, so I have no problem agreeing with Jeremy and saying that I'd like to see 2 or 3 move too, but I kind of also want to see what that final number is on that.
I agree.
We have a motion and a second for the 116, 710, so let's start with that.
So the motion,
Can I clarify one thing?
so what you're saying is the motion right now is to keep it as
Keep
is?
it as is, for now, through second reading.
So you're keeping the motion that Jeremy made. That is keeping the budget the way it was last year, is that correct? And just to clarify, the amount that we agreed to, that we had the affidavit signed for, just want to make sure that's going to remain the same, the 112,758.
Chuck, let me ask you
So what's that
something.
number? I can show you this. Yes, I'm sorry.
How does this affect your operation with, with this perpetuating fund? Keeping these salaries in there and stuff?
I mean, we can survive for 4 years. Yeah, we can survive for 4 years. Hopefully we don't have to last that long. What's that? Hopefully it doesn't have to last that long.
You guys have been very fair to us and helped us out.
Yeah, I don't mind working with you guys. It's never been a problem.
And thank you.
I think it's careless. I think it's something, again, kicking this can down the road, that's kind of part of the reason we're in the situation we're in now. And until we start making some decisions that are just, popular, and, this, I think having this money in that fund, it's not, I would be more, I know we have a motion in a second, but we're still discussing it, to start the transition, and we can do that tonight. And at the end, we might be able to move everybody over to the general fund, instead of keep it as is tonight. But I think we begin this transition with the right thing tonight, which is to start moving these people over.
Well, I think we're going into this thinking that we're not going to be able to do increases, kind of what I gathered, and I'd like to change that. I'd like to see us possibly do increases this year. And by doing things like this, that's how we get there, in my opinion. Not arguing with you.
But you agree with me, it should not be coming out of this fund.
It should be.
For long-term increase.
He doesn't have a plan for this money. He said he does. I mean, they're using it $150,000 a year to refund books. They're utilizing the money. They're keeping up with the things. They're getting things scanned. They've done some amazing work in that department and come very, very far. So to make it seem like we're taking their money and they can't do the work isn't the case. He said that they're fine.
First of all, I never said that. I said the money, that fund is not designed for these salaries. It's not set up that way. We have other partners work with us on that, but it's not what it's for.
But it is designed to do that because we're doing it. So that shows that it is designed. They would have, the state would have said you can't send it up salaries if they didn't want to allow that. I think Mr. Miller was part of setting up the process. He's probably doesn't like what I'm saying.
It's going to be
But they wouldn't have allowed it.
It's going to be completed in 4 to 5 years.
Oh, I thought you were fighting out there for it.
Yes, historically, I have fought for it, but we were facing the same situation about 6, 7 years ago. But no, I was not a quarterback, and I was still employed at the sheriff's
And
office.
how does that money come in, Chuck?
Recording fees.
From this, recording fees, so like.
Sale of houses?
Yeah, sales of houses, every time somebody has a mortgage or a deed that comes in, there's a state mandated charge for that, so every county charges the same. Every recorder's office works the same way as ours.
How are you looking as far as your fees coming in this year versus the?
I can give you my
Yeah.
permission to give you an idea, because I'm kind of the bookkeeper in the office. For example, we had, 2 years ago, we took in, like in 2021, we had a really good year, probably the best year we ever had historically. We took in total fees collected was $1.5 million. Actually, $1,588,000. Last year, we took in $902,000. So we lost that's like almost $700,000 difference. Why is that? The economy, sales of homes, refinances of mortgaging. There was a lot of refinancing going on in 2020, 2021, when the interest rates went up, no more refinancing. So it's just general use, just general, business practices that slow down drastically when it comes to real estate.
Wow. They went from 26, these are electronic recordings, 26,661 to 29,665, which was your high year, down to 20,676 to 2023, 15,401, where would you be at in 2024 if you were tracking it? I mean, I know you know.
2024, probably a hair more than 2023. And some of that is related to a negative recording that we see a lot of, liens. Traditionally, about 9 to 10% of our recordings every year, for example, are sewer liens coming out of one of our biggest cities in Portage. For a couple of years, they didn't record any. Now they're starting to do it again, and we're talking like 9%. So if you look at the total number of recordings in the middle of that column for 2020 was 38,371, the previous year was 41,455. Last year, we recorded 24,000 documents, that was a 17,000 less recordings than we had 2 years prior. We're probably right in that same range of 24, maybe 25, but we might hit 26. And why? We're gonna have probably 2,000 sewer liens. And that's not a positive impact on the economy, it's a negative impact. People can't pay their sewer bills. But we're getting more recordings and we're collecting more fees for that.
So I go to court on Thursday.
Is that why you're going to court on Thursday?
Okay.
Is that why you're going to court on Thursday?
We have a motion.
Okay, I appreciate that.
No, but the reason why I asked this was because when you have an amount in there, to me, it's not about just the amount, it's about cash flow. And this is a very kind of economic dependent flow. Like you said, you can have $1 million in there in 2021, 2023, you have 531,000, which kind of leads me to believe that, well, I'm sure we can't afford 4 years, or, you know, it's one of the things, eventually, we need to start getting out of the business of supplementing employees, I would imagine. So that's one reason why I was asking for the information. I appreciate that.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, as part of the long-term
Yeah.
plan.
Anybody else wants to see it?
Any other discussion? We have a motion and a second to keep it as is. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Aye.
Aye.
You have a roll call, please?
Stone.
No.
Baswood.
No.
Bozak.
Yes.
Rivas.
Yes.
Sims.
Yes.
Graham.
Yes.
Brickner.
No.
I would like to see us, like you said, I would like to see 3 people. I think that's
I think that's what you need to plan for the final meeting.
Yeah, hopefully, that's why I'm voting no. I think if we can get to that,
No, I agree.
I think 3 people would be good, if, hopefully we get the numbers we're looking for, as Jeremy stated, there's other funds.
Thank you, sir.
You're very welcome, guys. Thank you. Guys have a good rest of your night.
Sharp, thank you.
Did we do the records perpetuation fund, which is $900,000?
No, we did not.
You guys got it.
This is the one that we're talking about.
You're talking about general meeting?
No, but I'm saying now.
Well, just for the sake of keeping it the same right now, I'd love to keep it the same at 954, 925, just so we get the final reading.
I've got a question. Okay, I thought we requested 781,000, right in that ballpark.
That's what's the number for the perpetuation fund now, this last vote?
We showed the year's budget was $954, $925.
Goes back to
Are you removing the
954.
remaining by 150?
Half of it, yeah.
Goes back to.
I'll amend that motion, that's what we want,
Is that-
150.
Yeah, reminding at
Was
350.
the original 500,000?
Yeah.
Okay,
594.35 was the original, there was a difference of 364.490, which includes the 150. So what's the amount?
Is that what you want to look at?
I thought. Thank you.
Thank you, Joy.
Yeah, 350. That's approximately the difference, you know, 150, but then if you take 150 off of that, it'd still be at 800,000, so it's about 8%. $119,000 in there somewhere that we're not sure where it's coming from, but
Here's the rest of it.
it's, I guess, close enough, closer than before.
So remove 150,
Because last year it was 540. Look at this.
804,945.
No, that's all right.
Can you read it?
Yeah, that's fine, so, yeah, but that's been, with the 950 here. We were only asking for 350. And that's what we submitted.
Reduction of 150.
Yeah, that's what we
So
submitted.
you want to subtract the 150 off of this?
Off of 500, yes.
We're just going to last year's numbers.
Yeah, that's fine.
Just, yeah, for the time being, just go last year's number minus 150, so that's 804,925.
Yes.
Motion?
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay.
And then you guys will figure out which three and move those around and present that? Okay, thank you.
Surveyor.
See you coming.
Second name, Watson, $404 increase. Does that sound right?
Are you looking at general fund?
Oh, general fund's no change.
There should be no change.
Oh, no change.
No,
Getting
it's
ahead of myself. No change.
I second Jim's.
Motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Now we're, surveyor perpetuation.
Motion to approve 208,999.
That's,
We have a motion and a second to approve. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Treasurer.
Motion to approve $320,388.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Approve. No change. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
you did get the set
Motion
down.
carries. Thanks for staying on.
Motion to approve elected training at $1,085.
Elected official training, no change. Second. We have a motion and a second to approve. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We are at the end.
Yeah.
Madam Auditor, we have an update on the general fund after our second meeting.
That could be
The general fund tonight was at $10,754,258.
How does that leave us for the rest of the week?
That leaves us with $35,691,407.
What do we need to have? 12 million.
Any other business tonight? Do we have anything else tonight? Move?
No, I was just saying one last thing with the, it's all fees. Fees are coming from the taxpayers one way or another, and, you know, when piles of cash build up in fee-based funds, I think it's negligent not to look at it before just going, you know, to the general fund, or, you know, that's what's been happening historically here, so it's all coming out of the taxpayer pocket, whether they're paying a fee or some other property taxes, whether it's paycheck.
Well, I would agree, because for the fact, there are other departments that you do not expect to cover up that. And when you're taking funds that are available to do other projects, it's a concern. I, as a department head, which has individuals removed from my, and put in other funds without discussing it with me, is a concern of mine. We have to make sure the money's there. need to do it to all departments and not just certain departments.
I think we have tried to do that, and we found, a balance, increasing, we based on your discretion, a balance would get high up there.
Anything else for the good of the order? We have a motion?
Motion to adjourn?
Second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Then,